he's got a sort of fresh look at things and a very open mind, I think. And, of course, he is so cool.
If I wanted to tell you you had pretty eyes, it ain't got nothing to do with sex. I see you at the bus stop, your eyes are amazing. I ain't seen no eyes like this ever. I want to go say, hey, you got some beautiful eyes. I'm living in the UK, so I have to find a way to construct that. I don't want to come right out and say it in just an obvious way, because you might think I'm being sleazy, or you might think I'm taking the piss, or you might think I'm trying to rape you. So, all of us, at some point, who are stand-ups and we make people laugh, you've worked out how to do that. But that's not enough in this business. You got to be funny in something else. Whether it's funny and surreal, funny and slapstick, or whatever, it's got to be funny in something. I got a big character, I got a big nature. I like to say things big. And if you want to meet British people and hang out with them, you have to contain your enthusiasm.
He walks on, you think, this is the coolest man in the world. I mean, who wouldn't want to be Reg D. Hunter?
At number 86, it's Bob Newhart and his seminal driving instructor routine.
Well, what did Mr. Adams do before he let you pull out into traffic? Well, in addition to praying, let's say.
Each one of his routines was perfectly organized, perfectly written, had a perfect punchline. I think it was exceptionally gifted craftsmanship.
We always want to check our rear view mirror because that... Yeah, I didn't mean to shout at you like that.
And to give you an idea how great his material is, in 1998, he got a Grammy nomination for his album, which was nothing more than his material that was 40 years old, but it was so fresh. That's how great it is.
You have the feeling you're blocking somebody's lane. No, as a matter of fact, as long as you're here on the safety island, you see, you couldn't be blocking anyone's lane, huh?
Great talent in many, many, many ways. What an impersonator, what an impressionist. Wonderful.
Harry Enfield has created some of Britain's favourite comedy characters of the past 20 years.
He's really phenomenally skilled at the character stuff. And I guess it was Harry that kind of blazed the trail for stand-up characters.
And it was this 80s loudmouth who really captured the mood of the times.
What's that then? No, it ain't! It's loads more money! Well, I had loads of money last week, but I spent it all up, didn't I? This is loads more money! That's what you get being a plasterer. Bosham, loads of money. Bosham, loads more money.
The whole point about loads of money is that he was the ultimate expression of everything that was wrong with Thatcherism and the me generation and the ego generation and the money generation.
Hey, what's that? Bleeding fibre! Get out of it!
Very, very quickly, those characters become the heroes of the people you're trying to satirise. And even those people who have made heroes of them, they still know it's ironic, but they don't care. They just think, oh, yeah, he's just like me, loads of money, great.
I went to see my accountant this week, didn't I? Yeah. He said to me, oi, Sunbeam, you want to put your money into property? So I bought a house, put all my money in it, didn't I?
The thing I like most about him is he looks like a gay beetle.
I like fruit baskets. A fruit basket enables you to mail somebody fruit without appearing insane.
Dimitri Martin is a self-confessed smartass, and who can argue with him when part of his act includes a 224-word palindrome, 3D crosswords, and a poem written from the words on the back of a beer bottle.
Read it after the show and think of me in a bar, alone.
I like him for being clever and not being ashamed of it.
And with an IQ higher than the housemates of Big Brother combined, Martin has even won the Perrier Award.
If I can find a number for every letter so that this mathematically works, I win. And here's the solution. And sometimes a simultaneous equation becomes true with the same numbers. I am not a dork, I am a nerd.
Whether it comes from a kind of geekiness or nerdiness, it doesn't matter. What does matter is nobody else could effectively tell Dimitri Martin's jokes.
I like the beach. I like to get there really early before everybody else shows up. And I take like 30 bottles with notes in them and throw them into the water. And then I wait for everyone to come to the beach. And when someone goes to pick up one of the bottles, I go up behind them. Because when they open it, inside there's a note that says, I'm standing right behind you.
At number 83, one of the most popular British comedians of the 20th century, with a career spanning nearly 50 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunday night at the London Palladium.
Well, he was one of the top comedians we've ever had, a brilliant ad-libber. Tommy was very popular, you lucky people, he used to say. That was his catchphrase.
Tommy Trinder in his day were the best.
Marvellous how time flies. Only today I realised, you know, it's my wedding anniversary. 10 years ago today I said, I do. Yes, I do. Wasn't until today I realised what I do means. I do the washing, I do the housework, I do the cleaning.
In December 2006, Edna has her 50th anniversary. It's rather daunting for me to think about that. The character was really only created for a 2-week season. People find the character of Edna rather endearing. I can't understand that, because she is something of a monster.
Tell me the history of that frock, Judy. It's obviously an old favourite. It's lovely. Is it a furnishing fabric, Judy? You were very wise to remove the curtain rings.
He says the most outrageous things and couches them that it's the sweetest lady doing it.
See, you talk about her as a she. It's extraordinary, isn't it? That's how complete that character is.
Barry Humphrey's other major stand-up character came in the shape of the spectacularly inebriated Les Patterson.
And I have the honour to be the Australian Cultural Attaché to the Court of St James. I also have the rare distinction of being the first official failure of the Betty Ford Foundation.
He's made a character so he can say whatever he likes, as offensive as you can possibly get.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to hang around up here like a fart in a phone box for...
We comedians are really at war with the new Puritanism. That doesn't mean we all want to be dirty. We want to be free to observe the world as we see it.
I thought, what have I given for the conservation of energy, for example? I thought, I've given nothing. I've done nothing to conserve energy. And then it hit me. I thought, there's one thing I can do. I can have Norm taken off his life support system.
I'm still astounded to think that something I just thought of for a student prank, really, is still going strong.
Join us after the break for more groundbreaking stand-up.
Yeah, that's what the situation in the Middle East needs. Heavily armed paedophiles.
I don't know why I'm sitting here with Peter Cage going in. What's the point? Come on. Let me go.
Roll BT!
Freddie Starr is one of Britain's biggest television comedy stars of the past 30 years.
I mean, Freddie Starr, funny.
And his anarchic approach makes him one of the most unconventional stand-ups in tonight's list.
They're maggots. And what you do is you put them on the end of your hook. Like... No, it's honestly, they're harmless.
At his best, he was just a really, really funny guy. And again, and scary, you know, frightening. Frightening talent. I mean, you laugh sometimes out of fear, I think.
They just feel so lovely down here.
I think a lot of people are afraid of me, and quite rightly so. Because I do like giving them a bit of stick when I'm on there, you know. Not bad stick, you know, just being a bit naughty.
Freddie Starr was a master star. We laughed at him. We're wrong to forget that he was considered a stand-up genius.
Starr's career skyrocketed after he stole the show with his Mick Jagger impression at the Royal Variety Performance in 1970.
I've got touch, gonna be. You're gonna give your look to me. You're the man of Gabbery. Another gang I'm gonna feel.
It was the first time ever a performer had been allowed an encore. But his subsequent TV successes left him far from satisfied.
All my television career, I've hated, really, and never watched the shows. Never once. I didn't like what the writers, were doing to me. I could never be myself on television, ever. I always had to be this dressed up clown or something, You've got to go through a certain amount of during your life, and see things and pick them all out, and you can turn it into a comedy situation. From a bad situation, turn it upside down and say, what the f*** am I talking about here?
Just when his career seemed to be over, Starr made a stunning comeback in 1996 when ITV's Audience With achieved record ratings.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, my impression of a mad dog. Where's me dinner?
Yeah, it's real bullet, it's loaded. Please.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
There's such a wonderfully unpredictable side of you, like the side of Aquarius, and yet you've got these delightful earthy qualities of Capricorn. I wonder if you can tell us what your sign is.
It's like that.
It's great being mad. I like it.
More famous as Taxi's Latka, Andy Kaufman's performances have become legendary.
My wife. Take my wife, please take her.
He made a point of being deliberately unfunny, which resulted in his style being somewhat unorthodox for stand-up comedy.
Much, but she don't know how to cook. One night she makes steak and mashed potato, and the night before she makes spaghetti and meatballs. Her cooking is so bad. It's terrible.
He would deliberately create the illusion that he was bombing.
He did impressions that were... I'd like to do the Jimmy Carter. Hello, I am Jimmy Carter. You go, oh my God.
Not content with being just unfunny, Kaufman had a peculiar desire to wrong-foot and antagonise people. This saw him go as far as taking on female members of the audience in wrestling bouts and provoking the crowd to react even if it meant in a hostile way.
He would goad the audience, he would irritate them, he would insult them, and he was very, very mean.
Andy Kaufman died of lung cancer in 1984, but his reputation as a prankster led many to believe that this too was a hoax.
4 years before his death, him and I worked on a script called The Tony Clifton Story for Universal Studios. On page 124 of that script, he has the character, this alter ego character that he did, Tony Clifton, die of lung cancer at Cedars-Sinai Hospital. When you start putting all these things together, people said, he faked his death.
What's the difference between Frank Carson and the M25? You can turn off the M25.
Yeah, so Frank Carson, he looks like a young Austin Powers.
You've heard them all before, it's the way I tell it.
Our next stand-up is one of Ireland's best-known comics and king of the rapid-fire delivery.
The insurance man called this morning and said, if the last instalment on your granny's funeral isn't paid, up she comes. Since you've left home, your fella has become a sex maniac and tries to make love to me every opportunity he gets. Please excuse the wobbly writing. Let me get away with that one.
One of the lovely things about going through life is to be a funny man. And I'm a funny man. And I'm a funny man among funny men.
His whole life is around making people laugh and making them happy.
That's a crack of that one.
If he ever stops joking, I think he'll just fade away and disappear. He's unique, Frank.
Bloody good comedian. I'm too bloody good for this programme.
He's got a great catchphrase. And everybody in the country or everybody in the world knows it.
The way I tell it is, it doesn't matter.
Frank Carson has been telling jokes at 1,000,000 miles an hour for over 40 years. But he really came to prominence in the 1970s on the groundbreaking stand-up show, The Comedians.
The phone rang in the middle of the night and he lifted the phone. He said, "I'm sorry, you've got the wrong number. It's the meteorological office you want." And she says, "Who was that?" He said, "Some fellow wanting to know if the coast was clear."
He's a brilliant gags man. He's been around forever, and he will be around for forever, probably.
What about the fellow who was on Mastermind? He said to Maggotty Magazine, "Do you mind if I answer questions with my back to you?" He said, "Not at all." She says, "What's your name?" "Joe Wilson." "Where do you come from?" "Luton." "What do you want to answer questions on?" "English political history, 1931, 1981. "Occupation?" "Taxi driver."
Don't forget, I'm available for cheap cabaret. Thanks.
How are these jokes working in England? What do you think? Are they working all right? Damn. See, if I was in I'd be getting laid right now.
At number 78, the man who is to stand up what the Beach Boys are to music, Mitch Hedberg.
He's what Stephen Wright would have been if Stephen Wright had gone to the beach and smoked a joint.
Yeah. I had a roommate in Florida. His name was Eddie. Eddie was kind of slow on the mental draw. I was writing a letter, I had a problem. I said, "Ed, how do you abbreviate Arkansas?" He said, "I don't know. Just start spelling it, then quit."
Sadly, there was an early end to Hedberg's career when in 2005 he died from a drugs overdose, aged just 37.
I'm very, very sad to not be able to spend the rest of my life listening to thoughts from his head. That's a great head that's not in the world anymore.
"You're going out for a little while?" I said, "Yes." "Why?" I said, "Because I don't want to stay in, that's why."
Cheap Money was in the category of the comedy droll, the odd person.
He was sort of deadpan before deadpan was hip.
So after some time, a door arrived. Not on its own, of course. There was two fellas brought it up, you know. So, once the door was fixed, I made my way out. Because I wanted to get out, you see. And I turned this handle. There was one on the other side. I noticed that on the way out. I never used that. You need to put your arm around the door. I never...